Hey there, art nerds. So we've reviewed a lot of Supervision products this year. Some I really liked, some I was kind of disappointed by. This is going to be in the vein of something I really like because I already have some experience with watercolors very similar to it. So let's go ahead and unpackage and swatch the watercolors inside this tiny Supervision tin. This minuscule palette was purchased off of Amazon. It is a Supervision product, and those of you who watch the channel might know I'm actually a really big fan of the Supervision super granulating watercolors. I think these are really cool. I think they're pretty innovative. I know other companies are also doing super granulating like Schmincke and Paul Rubens, but these have captured my heart because you get some really wild color shifts with these watercolors. And as a watercolor comic artist, these are great for adding drama. So what is inside this tiny tin? Well, it's the half pans that aren't necessarily available in their full tube form. Now, if you guys remember when I reviewed these, I did put them into half pans and let them dry, and that's what I'm going to be working with for the rest of this video. But they do have a line of half pans already made, already formed. I actually think I have one of those in my set already, but I was able to get this palette on Amazon for pretty comparable to what it was going for with AliExpress without me having to wait 2 billion years for it to come in. So I am really excited to share these with you guys today, and I'm excited to see what possibilities Supervision is offering with these super granulating watercolors. So as you guys know, I am a comic artist. I paint the comic 7-inch Cara, and I use these little mini Martini watercolor rounds to test out the super granulation properties from those tubes of Supervision watercolor. And I really liked what I saw. Like I said, it seems like a great way. This is a Daniel Smith. This is also a Daniel Smith, but it seems like a great way to be able to bring in some drama and some interest, and sorry, that's my espresso machine turning off, some drama and some interest into your watercolor comic without it taking a significant amount of time. This isn't going to work for every single background, but you have a lot of reaction and emotive panels where you don't want to over clutter them with detail, but you don't want them to be barren either. And these sort of super granulating colors can be a great way to create some atmosphere without spending a million years painting a single panel. So without too much more ado, let's go ahead and open this tiny little palette. I really love the color on the outside. They all come individually wrapped. There is a belly band, and then there's shrink wrapping around the outside. You guys know how I feel about that. We don't necessarily need all of that. I am going to keep the belly band and find a way to transpose it onto my half pan so that it's nice and handy. And I even have room to grow. I could do a row of, really squeeze them in there, but I could get some half pans going that way. And I also have room for at least 2 more up here at the top. So what I might do is take the tube watercolors that I've dried out in the half pans here. I have 7 of them. One of them is Cathedral Glass, which would be a duplicate, but I knew that going into that, and transpose 6 of these into this palette so that all of my super granulating Supervision watercolors, if that's not a tongue twister, I don't know what is, are in one very cute palette. Now, Supervision does have some tubes that I haven't yet acquired, but I'm working on changing that. So keep an eye out for that in the near future. These are the 12 colors that this little half pan tin came with. They do have more colors available. I'm going to have the pigment information down in the description below, but basically all of these colors are considered Series 1. They all have a Lightfast rating of 7. They're all semi-opaque, And the source of the raw materials is Italy and the US. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and swatch these for you guys first, and then I'll swatch all the ones I currently have. So for today's unboxing swatch, I am using the Bao Hang Pure Cotton Watercolor Pad. It's not the best, it's not the worst, but I find it to be quite serviceable for these purposes. And what we're really going to be focusing on is demonstrating just how much these watercolors granulate. The colors and pigment information for this 10-piece tin are Lavender PW6, PR122, PB29, Series 1, Lightfastness L5, Semi-Opaque, and the source of raw materials is Italy and the US. Crimson Purple PB29, PR122, PBR6, it is Series 1 with a Lightfastness of 7. Royal Purple PB29, PR122, Series 1, Lightfastness of 7. Sky Ink PB17, Mineral Color, Series 1 with a Lightfastness of 6. Dark Green PG29, PG7, Series 1 with a Lightfastness of 7. Black Blue PB29, PBR6, PY43, Series 1 with a Lightfastness of 7. Evening Moon PB29, PBR6, PY43, Series 1 with a Lightfastness of 7. Tang Kiln PB29, PY43, Series 1 with a Lightfastness of 7. Warbler Brown PB29, PY43, Series 1 with a Lightfastness of 7. So that is all 8 colors that were already in the set. I'm going to go ahead and add my existing colors minus Cathedral Glass. I guess I'll have to send this off to a friend, and then I will swatch the colors that I added so you guys can see them. But I do recommend, if you're interested in supervision, I'll have links to my other reviews down in the description below. So these are the colors that I'm adding to the palette. That would be, gotta find it, red yellow, rose ash, green purple, blue gradient, golden green, and brown green. I find that the Supergranulating Supervision watercolors reconstitute from half pans quite well, so feel free to dry out your tube watercolors in the pans if that's more convenient for you. In fact, I find that they might work a little bit better. Since we're working with a dry form, it kind of means we get more color intensity. Now that you guys have seen how cool these super granulating colors can be, all that's really left for now is to go ahead and make a color map for my palette, and that's really pretty simple. Now I would like to field test these 10 colors using that same comic style art, which is just out of reach. I wish I could like force pull it to me, but you guys know what I mean. I showed it to you at the beginning with the circles. I am going to do field tests for all these colors using that as well. Minus Cathedral Glass, because I've already done Cathedral Glass, so 9 more of those, but that will just be a different video, if even a video at all. You guys will just have to keep an eye on my Instagram. I'll be sure to share the results over there, just in case I don't share them over here. For super granulating colors like this, I like to swatch into a bit of water because it really allows the granulation to show through, and that's what makes these colors really special. I'm also going to do a mass tone swatch just to kind of give me an idea of what the full intensity of the color might look like, should I ever choose to paint using that color in that manner. So you guys can probably tell I really like the Supervision Super Granulating colors. They're just so much fun. I am going to do that field test we talked about in a separate video. So I guess look forward to more of these. And the reason I'm going to do it in a separate video is because I like to include the sketching and inking part of it too. That's just kind of fun. So look forward to that, and let me know what's your favorite super granulating watercolors. Are you a big fan of the Supervision ones? Do you really like the Paul Rubens ones? Are you a huge fan of the Schmincke ones? I have to say I'm a little bit biased because for the most part I'm mostly familiar with the Supervision ones and then the Daniel Smith ones like Undersea Green and Lunar Black and Lunar Violet and Moon Glow, but I haven't actually had a chance to play around with the Paul Rubens or the Schmincke watercolors, but I'm going to go ahead and say I probably will enjoy all of these more than the Schmincke ones just because the Schmincke ones are they're pretty price prohibitive, and the Supervision ones just have some really fun colors, some unusual color splits like purple and green, red and blue, teal, and I think that's supposed to be a gold, but it really reads as a green, or like up here where we get like that blue purple and the red purple is really beautiful, or up here it got kind of taken over by cathedral glass, but where we get that darker blue and that darker green. I really think Supervision's got some beautiful super granulating colors, and I look forward to accumulating, hoarding the rest of their color lineup because these are just gorgeous and they're gonna look so good in 7" Cara Volume 3. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. Since we went ahead and re-swatched these, I'll just show you guys. So this is the red and blue. This is the blue and blue, so blue gradient. This is the gold and blue. This is the red and gold. This is it's brown and green, I forgot the name. This is that teal and purple, and then that is cathedral glass. I like how that's the only one whose name I remember. That's moon glow, and then that is lunar blue. So you can get some really cool, very simple environments from these, and I also want to try painting, like, you know, attempting, I guess, to paint an actual watercolor illustration where we have these gorgeous gradients either as a glaze or as a grisé, and then we build up our color on top of that. I don't know how well these will take that because they are semi-opaque and they do seem like they would lift if you do too much on top of them. But hey, you never know until you try, and I look forward to sharing the attempts with you guys. So right after this package of granulating watercolors came in, another package came in, this time from AliExpress with even more granulating colors. So I figured I would just make this a two-part review. So it did come wrapped in a bag, a mailer bag, but it also came wrapped in this nice protective bubble wrap sleeve. Like, somebody really did put some care into this. And one thing I have to say is that whenever I'm ordering Supervision or Paul Rubens off of AliExpress, it always arrives in a timely fashion, very well prepared. I never have any issues with it. So I will continue ordering my Supervision and Paul Rubens stuff off of AliExpress because they do a pretty good job. And I usually get it from the Dingy Boutique store. I did not save the paperwork for who I got this one from. I can go back and check. So the thing is, I want to open this for you guys, but I don't want it to explode on camera. Oh, there we go. We'll just operate like this. And I was afraid that if I cut right into it, it would. There we go. All right, we got it. So these should be the granulating tube colors that I didn't have, which will basically give me almost a full set. And then these should be some of the Paul Rubens granulating colors. So here we have red green and yellow green, and then here we have one of the Paul Rubens. This is royal purple. And we also have 3 more. We have, come on, Christmas green, moonlight purple, and shadow purple. And just in case you guys didn't realize it, I'm actually a really big fan of granulating watercolors. This is a palette of Daniel Smith granulating watercolors minus these two. I haven't had a chance to try the Schmincke granulating colors yet just because they are kind of cost prohibitive, but I am interested in doing so. It's just not in my budget. Most of these were swatched during a live unboxing swatch when I'd ordered a bunch of super granulating watercolors from Blick and swatched them live and chatted with you guys, and I had a blast. I'm looking forward to doing more live unboxing swatches with you guys in the future. I'm not going to go through the colors in this set because honestly, I need to like go back and look up the color information and write it down. I wasn't really good about it, and I've also reordered these a few times since, so I apologize, but a lot of them are the lunar colors from Daniel Smith, like Lunar Blue, Lunar Violet. There's also Moon Glow, and I believe Shadow Purple in there. Some of them are a little bit more impressive than others, but they all offer some really awesome super granulation properties. If you're looking for more intense granulation from Daniel Smith, a lot of their natural mineral watercolors offer that. Now, I know there's been some scandal around Daniel Smith adding in other colors and not necessarily disclosing that when it comes to their Primatech range. So this isn't an endorsement necessarily, other than I happen to like the properties that those colors offer. For the back half of today's, this isn't really a review, I'm just showing you guys something cool that I really like. I'm going to swatch these 6 colors, and maybe we'll end up talking a little bit about the Paul Rubens granulating colors as well. So I'm going to be adding these 2 colors to this palette here, which even though I just did this swatch sheet, means I got to do another swatch sheet. And I'm not sure yet what I'm going to do with the Paul Rubens. There would be room, I think, to squeak them on in here, but for some reason that just bothers me on a deep level, mixing the brands, mixing the streams, so I probably won't do that. Just like in the front half of the video, we're going to do very similar swatches on the ball hang watercolor paper. So we're basically going to do really wet into wet swatches that really demonstrate how well these granulate. And then I'll set them up to dry in half pans and add them to my palette. The 2 new additions to my super granulation palette are Red Green, Series 4, PG50, PR122. It's semi-opaque and its Lightfastness is listed as Outlist. Let me know if you guys know what that means down in the comments below. And Yellow Green, which is PB17 and Plant Extracts. And I actually have a bunch of the Supervision plant-based watercolors that I want to review for you guys in the future. So keep an eye out for that. It's listed as transparent, and its Lightfastness is also listed as Outlist. So I wonder what that means. So the new Paul Rubens colors are Royal Purple, PB18, PB29, semi-transparent with a Lightfastness of 4 stars, Christmas Green, PBR7 and PB15, transparent with a Lightfast rating of 5 stars, Moonlight Purple, PO73, PB29, and PG18, transparent with a Lightfast rating of 5 stars, and Shadow Purple, PB18, PB29, transparent with a Lightfast rating of 5 stars. And I believe these are all the super granulating colors that Paul Rubens offers, but hopefully they'll offer some more in the future. I really love these super granulating colors. They're just so cool and you get such pretty effects. So these 2 are the Supervision colors, and I will have, same as with the first batch, I will have the names and the pigment information in the description below, but this one is Red Green and this one is Yellow Green. And then these are the Paul Rubens, and even though some of them share a color name, like we've got Royal Purple in both sets, they're actually different colors and the way they granulate is different. The only one I'm not that impressed with is Christmas Green, it right now, right here, is just not really doing a whole lot. But Moonlight Purple is so, it's not even a purple, it's really cool. It's like got black, it's got some ultramarine, and it's got some pyrrole orange in it. So it kind of reminds me of Brusho, where you think you're getting one color and you get all these beautiful granulating colors instead. Shadow Purple is also really pretty as well. It's got some brown as well as some ultramarine blue. So these are just super cool. So next I'm going to set these up in some half pans, add them to my palette, and re-swatch. Sets the mask tone for most of these super granulating colors, makes it really difficult to tell how they would actually look when you use them. I find it's really important to map and remap every time I add new colors and don't have room to add those colors in. This makes this palette a lot easier for me to reference and actually use. And I have a field test very similar to the original Supervision Super Granulating Watercolors field test coming up for you guys. As of time of narration, I'm about halfway done with it. I took a break to work on a bunch of Christmas stuff for you guys, so I'm looking forward to finishing that up and getting back to you guys. But I can say from here, I still really love what I see, and I'm definitely considering trying out and comparing the Schmincke Super Granulating Watercolors as well. If you're new here and this is your first time hanging out with me, I'd love it if you stuck around. It'd really mean a lot to me if you hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to see more videos from me, I've got some amazing playlists. I'll make sure to link those in the description down below for you guys. I cover everything from how to make comics to how to watercolor, because I am a watercolor comic artist. And if you would hit that bell notification and let YouTube know that you want to hear from me, I would really appreciate that. So I figured out what to do with my Paul Rubens super granulating colors. I'm going to put them and my Van Gogh Dusk colors into the same larger Altoids tin. So I am replacing the Van Gogh Dusk colors now. I actually reviewed those here on the channel not super long ago, but I never did a field test for them, so I really need to get around to doing that. Those were sent to me thanks to Kabocha. Thank you so much, Kabocha, for sending me those. I have since fallen in love with super granulating colors. And then here are our 4 little Paul Rubens tubins, and I'm using the clear Meeden half pans because frankly I just think they are super duper cute. I really like how the Paul Rubens colors, some of these colors have like multiple color splits. In fact, I think Shadow Purple almost looks like fireworks. It kind of reminds me of Brusho's black. And then of course we have to make our palette map so we know what's what and where our colors are. I do need to get some more of those small watercolor rounds. I tried ordering more of the Maritini watercolor rounds that I reviewed for you guys that I like to use for the field test, and it seems like they don't make them anymore, so I might be either switching over to the Paul Rubens 100% cotton rag paper to test these out, which would make sense, Paul Rubens on Paul Rubens, or I might test them out on the Dora Arts mini rounds that I've also ordered recently. So hopefully I've turned you guys on to something good in terms of granulating colors. This isn't my first time talking about granulating watercolors here on the channel. I've talked about them a few other times, but you know, if this is the first time you've discovered them, it's definitely not too late, and more companies are coming out with really cool super granulating sets or really fun twist on super granulation. Like Supervision has this set coming out that super granulates and has mica in it, which you guys are definitely going to be seeing here on this channel, because that is definitely something that I'm interested in. So I do have the field tests for these coming up. In fact, I'm working on them already, where I demonstrate how the granulation looks in a comic-esque setting, almost like watercolor comic panels. So here are a few examples of what I'm going to be testing them out on. So if you enjoy watercolor or if you enjoy comic art, I think you guys will enjoy that. And speaking of enjoy comic art, if you do, or if you're interested in comics, I hope you guys will check out my webcomic, 7-Inch Kara. You guys can read it for free over at 7inchkara.com. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me, helping me swatch, and playing around with these super granulating watercolors. Over here are various sets of supervision super granulating watercolors. I will link what I can for you guys in the description below. Over here at the top are the Van Gogh Dusk colors, which are also a super granulating watercolor because they're using PBK 11. That would be Lunar Black if we're talking about Daniel Smith, plus say Quin Magenta, to create this kind of super granulating effect. So really pretty cool. And then down here we have the Paul Rubens super granulating colors, and they only have 4 available, but they already look really cool. So I look forward to seeing you guys in the field test, and I hope you guys will stick around, consider subscribing, and hit that bell notification so YouTube lets you know when we have an update. Huge thanks to my amazing patron for all their support, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and hopefully today's, I won't call it a review because I already know I love these things. Hopefully today's demonstration inspires you to help make art a habit. So, bye guys!